process and you finally get that talent out on the football field at Davenport North?
He's a basketball player. He started off as a basketball player, and I've been burned by basketball players before about, I'm coming to play football. I'm coming to play football. And Coach Davis here believes in multi-sport athletes just like I do. Like, he wants his basketball players to go play football to create toughness for him on the basketball court. So I'm like, yeah, I'll believe it when I see it and all that. And then finally, like, he showed up in the summer a little bit. And he was there, and then he would kind of go off and go do the travel basketball stuff for a little bit. And I was like, okay, that was fun while it lasted. And then when we got to August, and even when we went to our team camp in Platteville, he went with us, and I was like, okay. And then some of the coaches we were going against up there were like, who is that kid? And I'm like, oh, he's a basketball player. He's just really athletic, really raw. And then when we finally got to let him go, it was kind of exciting. And I told him, I said, I think you're going to have a big night tonight. I go, no one really knows who you are, what you're about. And, we had an idea of who we wanted to put him against for the best opportunity. And he went off against Marion that night and, number 3 or 4 in the state record books as most receiving yards in a game, which is crazy to think about. And just the success he's had has been amazing. I have more former players coaching D1 football than I do playing D1 football. And I'm getting a lot of phone calls from those guys asking me about him and, his story and all that stuff. And again, he hasn't played. I think he played a little bit. The last time he played for the Wildcats, I should say, was in 6th grade when it was YSF. And then he's been basketball through and through. And he just decided he was going to give it a shot. It was his senior year and go out and have fun with his boys. And it's been fun to have him around.
I've seen the highlights, the video. He's impressive on the field. Coach, I was impressed with him off the field. Our interview we had, the way he handled himself. Talk about that kind of thing, because he seems pretty level-headed and just a very personable young man.
Yeah, he's been really level-headed, really picks up his teammates. His teammates rallied around him when, he had a drop at one point. They rallied around him. It's going to be okay. And that's what I get a lot of feedback from college coaches is how personable he is, how great of a kid he is to talk to on the phone and all that stuff. So he just does a phenomenal job. Comes from a great family. He's got a cousin on the team that plays defensive line for us, Tate Watson. So it just overall just a great family and kid.
Your offense is playing very well. Talk about what makes it tick right now. We talked about the defense, but an explosive offense, Coach. And I know that's something. Big plays are fun, and I know you get plenty of big plays at Davenport North.
We started off in the summer. We wanted to be consistent. That was our big thing, and I told the guys be comfortable with boredom. We're going to do what we're going to do, but we're going to do it better than anybody else. And they've really embraced that. Everyone thinks. The exciting part for me is everyone thinks we throw the football all over the place when actually we're 57% run, 43% pass. We're just very explosive in the pass game. But we're still trying to establish that run game and get that run game going. But I think everyone spends time focused on the pass when we're really not a pass-heavy team. We're still very, very much run-focused. So that's exciting, but, be comfortable with boredom. We've been running the same plays since summer through week 1 through 8 here. We're going to make some tweaks here and there throughout the season and based on what defense has given us. But, they've really taken what I've been preaching offensively to stride, and I think they're seeing the results from it.
Big game this Friday at North Scott, a program that I'm sure you know a lot about and has had a lot of success. How do you guys approach this game? Because there's going to be plenty of tension around it. They need a victory. You guys need a victory. So much at stake. Goofy media guys are going to be reaching out to everybody wanting to know what's going on. How do you guys approach it in the building and in practice coming up this week?
We've kind of looked at it, starting playoffs now a little bit, but at the same time, we're treating it's just another game. We're not going to change up our weekly routine, our daily routine, or anything like that. I know the coaches, we've spent a little more time, watching film in preparation for this game. It's only Monday morning right now. We're going to still focus on that. We do things a little different. We do a walkthrough on Mondays. So I know we're going to get some more time to watch some film tonight and really hit the practice field hard tomorrow. But we're just kind of treating it like another game, no pressure. For our players, they've had a lot of success. Coach Stewart up there is doing a phenomenal job taking over for Coach Tippett and keeping that program going in the right direction. They've had a tough schedule. They're a 5-3 team, but they've played some really tough competition. So it's going to be a fun game Friday night, I believe.
Coach, you mentioned watching video. What have you seen on video from them? And you mentioned it's a good football team up at North Scott.
Yeah, from what I've seen, they're very similar to us. Schematically, they're going to do more with their formations and their motions. Defensively, offensively. Defensively, they're in a 3-4. They think they're, and then it's the way they is, and I've played them before. They're three. They believe their 3 linemen are better than our 5 linemen, and they're going to be very physical. They're going to get to the point of attack. Their linebackers fly around. They're very physical. And they're going to stop the run. That's their big emphasis. They're going to stop the run, but at the same time, they're going to drop 4 into coverage and not give up the big pass plays. They're very, very sound on defense, and they have moments where they like to bring the house, and they'll get after it. So, we just got to be ready and, keep our offensive line on their technique and their rules and keep on their tracks, and I think they'll be just fine.
Coach, I know it's about the team for you, and you love these guys and your guys every year. I love that. But you
remember my first year, we went 6-3. I was like, oh, I can get this in, 3 more years if I just keep doing what I'm doing. And then, COVID, and we had some down years, and I kind of lost track of it. And I was just, worry about, the team. And then I kind of got Stocking emailed me and was like, hey, just a heads up. And I was like, okay. So, and it was just then it's when it kind of popped up back on my radar and all that. But I mean, it was again, it was never my goal to be that. And I wish it was higher. I think North deserves a lot better. And I think it should be higher. I'm hoping somebody comes in after my time is done here and they break it. I want North to keep succeeding. That's my big thing. So now one of my coaches after Friday night's game, he goes, every night's a record breaker for you when we win. I go, I guess so. So, but no, it's not about me. It was exciting. I went back and watched. I saw the videos of the guys dumping the Gatorade and water on me, and I think they had more fun just doing that because they had an opportunity to get me wet after the game, especially when it was a little chilly out. So I said, you looked like you were having too much fun doing that. And I think if I asked a bunch of guys why they did that, I don't think they would know why. I think they just said, oh, Coach told us to dump water on you. So
I love it. Coach. Before I let you go, last one. You mentioned these guys, and it's for these guys. They seem like a great group of kids, the ones that I've talked to as well. What makes this group special? Is it goofy? Is it lighthearted? Is it because you have to have that? And when it comes to wars on Friday night, you also have to have that side of things as well. What makes this group one that you seem to really like?
I give a lot of credit to last year's seniors because they saw a class that kind of wasn't the year before that in 2023 wasn't quite bought in. And then the 2024 group, they bought in a lot more. And I think this senior class saw that senior class, what it's like to buy in. And, we were 5-4 and we were just short of the playoffs. This class has took it to another step, and talking about, being a team and sticking together. And they've really, really, really embraced that. And I think that's what makes it really exciting. And, I think we can keep that going. We can keep the snowball going of success with our seniors because I think every coach tell you, the best teams are senior led and they say player led, but I like to think it's the senior led because all the rest of the teams look up to, or the rest of the players look up to those seniors. So I think they've just really taken it to the next step, this group right here. And have laid another really good foundation or put another brick in the wall for this next class to, see how it's done to keep moving us in the right direction. So that's what makes it fun. And they've just been together. I saw my D coordinator, he posted, he's been at Harrison Elementary now, I guess he said this was his senior class. This senior class was a class he welcomed in as kindergartners.
Wow.
So he's brought them all the way up through. So I'm like, that's kind of cool that he's been with these kids since they were kindergarten. So that also makes it special is they've known him, for the last 18 years of their life because he's been their teacher. And then, again, I've been here now 7 years. It's just that consistency for these guys. And I think that's what makes it cool and special.
Coach, I love it. I appreciate your time this morning. I know you went and got donuts for the guys this morning. When you're doing that, buy some flowers for the wife. Because I know
she was with me because my truck's in the shop.
All right,
so she was with me. So she gives me a hard time. I'm bad about that.
No, but you know what I mean? Because you know what it's like. I mean, it's busy.
Oh, I know.
They're doing a lot of the heavy lifting at home and all that kind of stuff. So just a little advice, do something nice for her. It's hopefully, like I said, it's not just, a couple more weeks. Hopefully it's like several more weeks before you can be a dad and husband again. But
she's got a birthday coming up here. So she's hoping But she would love to be celebrating football during her birthday.
I
She would absolutely love that because we'd
I'm
be in the
certain of
dome at
that.
that time.
No, I'm certain of that as well. Coach, I appreciate you as always. Best of luck this week. We'll catch up again real soon.
Thank you. Go Cats.
All right. That is Adam Hite, the head coach over at Davenport North. Good dude, first and foremost, but also really good football coach. The school's all-time winningest head coach over at Davenport North. A big game. North and North Scott, one of the games we'll talk about this week and have an eye on over the weekend over the Iowa side of the river. We got more to get to coming up after the break. We'll be back. It's a Monday right here on OTA.
Give me the keys.
Learning to drive can be stressful for both the student and, yes, the parent as well. Relax. There's an easy way to avoid the stress. Skiles Driving School in East Moline has been helping new drivers hit the road with confidence for over 20 years. Whether you're a teen earning your first license or an adult looking for behind-the-wheel training, we've got you covered. Their certified instructors are patient, experienced, and use modern vehicles equipped for safety and comfort. From classroom instruction to real-world driving, we make learning safe, affordable, and even fun. Call 309-278-0098 or visit skylesdriving.com. Skiles Driving School. Get in, buckle up, drive your future forward.
Are you looking to take your next party, tailgate, or golf outing to the next level? You need mobile party experience. MPX features 3 top-of-the-line party trailers equipped with all the amenities you need to party like a rock star. Smart TVs, Yeti coolers, JBL sound systems, grills, bathrooms, and much more. Mobile party experience is an experience like no other. Check out my-mpx.com or call 563-514-1470 and book your mobile party experience today. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Monday in the Quad Cities. Got to fix my hat here for a second. I don't normally wear a hat on the show. It's just one of those Mondays where I felt like the Lions hoodie and a hat kind of fit my mood a little bit. Welcome back to the show. It's been a fun show so far. Pat Anger joined us in the beginning of the show, the hour number 1, to talk about Iowa's big victory. A big thank you to Adam Hite. A good season for Davenport North. 6-2. With a chance to secure a playoff spot this week. A really good game, Davenport North and North Scott. And it's crazy because it is week 9 of the high school football season. And a lot of great action in week 8 and a lot of scoring in week 8 as well. But no one was scoring more than on Saturday afternoon in Sterling. Sterling Newman, head coach Mike LeMay, joins us right now and Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Are you guys done scoring touchdowns yet? Or did you guys just score during the intro?
Yeah, I think we're done for now. So we'll see this week, hopefully.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Newman with a victory this week, 79-32 was the final score. 79 points is a school record at a school that has had a lot of success, as you know, Coach. What was Saturday like? And obviously, you don't go out there every game trying to rewrite the history books when it comes to most point scores. But nice little nugget to have along the way, isn't it?
Yeah, no doubt. I think the kids they really executed at a high level on all phases of the game to get us to that point. I mean, it just felt like honestly, it was one of the weirdest games I've ever been a part of as a coach or player. It was like you look down at my watch at one point and it was 1:48, and I'm like, my God, we're not even out of the first quarter. And it was just the way it all happened is just still it shocks me. So again, unintentional, but we'll take it as that, no doubt. It was good though to see our kids just come out of the gates on fire, and that's really how they've been going for the last several weeks. And it's nice to get out fast and early and often. And that's what was indicative of that scoreboard. So
it's funny you mentioned that, Coach, because that's my next question was like, you want to start fast. To have your kids ready, is it something about this group that you see right now that they're just eager to get on the football field and get to work?
yeah, honestly, it's like it's a lot of what other coaches say when you have a good group. They just love being around one another, and they really thrive in those moments of playing in the games. And you stress to them. And I know I was just listening to you before you came on with me. We're already in week 9, and you only get 9 guaranteed games in the regular season. And you try to stress the whole point of like, hey guys, these opportunities come few and far between, and they're the moments that you're going to remember making this play and whatnot. But yeah, you got to make the best of your opportunities, and these kids like to do that for one another. And it's good that they really are focused, locked in for the point when we kick off, whether it's 7:00 on a Friday night or 1:00 in the afternoon. So that's just them to a T, and I hope they can keep that rolling. So,
Coach, I think I started the show kind of talking about, or at the beginning of it, talking about I was scrolling through X and and I was sitting and I saw 43-8, and I thought that was the final score, and that was the end of the first quarter score. And I tried to and Drake Landsman did a fantastic job. He was at the game covering your game and trying to put things together. I don't know if I could put a football team on the field by itself and get to 43 points. Kind of just talk about how things went in that first quarter. And I know when things get rolling the right way, they can get rolling, but that's an impressive first quarter of football. Has to be a record. I don't know if it is. I have no clue what it is, if it is, but I'm going to call it a record because I can't fathom somebody doing that.
Well, I will take it if that's the case. But again, it's not like we're out here just chasing records. It was bizarre. I went back and watched our film, and we start out the game. They kick it off, but what do I want to say? The kicker kicked it off without the ref blowing the whistle, so they had to reset it.
Jeez.
They kick it off. We return the opening kickoff. It's technically the second play of the game. So we go down, and then we kick it off. We go right into them, I believe, being 3 and out. We get the ball back on a short field on a punt return, and then the very next play we score again, and then we kick it off. They get the ball. We get a pick, and we're now inside the 20. We score again, and then we kick it off, and they punt, and then they take a safety unintentionally, and then they have to kick it to us, short field. We score again, and it just was like the floodgates open, at that point. And then they actually went down the field after a kick return, and they scored. And that was like one of those that, okay, got it. And then we returned the ball down the field again, and we just went in to score again, and it just was offense, defense, special teams was all just kind of clicking. And yeah, we closed out the quarter scoring, kicking off, and then they ran one play, and then it flipped into the second quarter. So it's just not a lot of plays, but a lot of time off. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
What's that?
You're right. It was like 50 minutes in the first quarter. So it was a very long first quarter. Coach, you mentioned offense, defense, special teams. Everybody seems to be playing well right now, and it takes 3 phases. Talk more about that, because yes, it's week 9. It comes the postseason after that, and that's exactly what you want. It seems like the Comets are complementing each other well right now.
Yeah, that's true. If you can be successful in all 3 phases, not just be great at one of them, that helps to make a really balanced football team. And the word last week for us was balance, and trying to maintain that. And we actually, going back and looking at it now, we executed that really well, and it went all the way through to all those kids getting in the game and being able to play at a high level. And they're just really buying into what we're trying to coach them up on for, scheme for the week. And we spend time on all 3 phases of the game. It's not like you do one or the other exceptionally well. We got coaches that really pride themselves in, coordinating those units, and they do a really good job of bringing the certain drills to that and making sure our kids are ready to go regardless of who's on the field. So I think that's something that we're always going to maintain, is just being really, really good at all 3 phases. So.
Sterling Newman, head coach Mike LeMay, joining us right now on OTA. Coach, you have week 9, and it's a heck of a matchup to end the season. A cross-division showdown with the Mississippi Division champion Monmouth Roseville. They lost for the first time this past weekend at Rock Ridge, a very good football team. What do you see in Monmouth Roseville? What do you expect from them? And I guess it's a really good situation for you guys because you're going to get battle tested by a good 3A football team before the postseason begins.
Yeah, absolutely. They are really big up front. And, Coach Adolphson, I've listened to many of the times that he's on, the instant reacts or whatnot. And he says it, and you can see it on film. They pride themselves on being the most physical team on the football field. And certainly that's what they try to do. So that catches your eye right away. And they just fly around. So I think it's a tremendous matchup. And I think, when you play in Northwest football in the playoffs, you got to be ready to take on those type of teams if you're going to be ready to make a run or do anything of a deep push. And that's something that I think is really good for us, is to kind of see where we're at as we get ready to go into the postseason. And it's going to be a hostile environment. I know they'll be fired up, especially coming off a loss to, a quality team like Rock Ridge. So it feels like everything's kind of stacked against you. So you try to go this week and get your kids ready and fired up to go in a hostile environment, like exactly what it's probably going to be in the playoffs. So.
Yeah, Coach, I talked to, Greg and Mitch and all those guys talk about that 1A North bracket is just full. And you guys are one of those teams that'll be up there. To get a test like this against Monmouth Roseville is going to help. But that bracket in general, talk about what you expect in the postseason, because 1A football is so good, especially up in our area and to the Northwest.
Well, it's tough now because everyone keeps asking me, are you 1A, 2A? We are literally the team on the bubble, so I don't know where we're going to be at. But if I'm talking about 1A, I mean, we've seen a lot of those teams, and you get a chance to see how they do constantly. Obviously, the NUIC has been running the table, and we pay attention. They're very local to us, being up here in Sterling, so you get a chance to kind of see all that. We got a taste of it too. We had a tremendous opportunity to have a joint practice over the summer with Lena Winslow. So you really get a chance to see how they run their program, and their coaches are great people, and they do a great job. And it's just, it's good to see that, but they're a physical football team. And that's something that, we want to be, and that's something we want to know. We want people to know when they play Newman, we want them to know, like, hey, this is a team that's physical and plays fast. So that's kind of what we're hanging our hat on. But yeah, the 1A North is a gauntlet. And looking at even 2A, it's crazy. There's a lot of undefeated teams, one-loss teams. Heck, you could be one loss and be traveling in week one of the playoffs, which is just insane. Which we could go on and on about what I think about all that, but needless to say, you got to line up and play the people in front of you. So we just got to make sure you're ready to go.
You don't want your kids looking ahead, but they almost can't look ahead because you don't know. How do you balance that as a coaching staff? And I guess you'll know by Friday night at the end of the night where things may fall, or is it all the way till Saturday when you find out when you'll be 1A, 2A? You got to do the math, don't you?
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, I'm looking at the outlooks thing on IHSA, and they got us right now in 2A. They had us in 1A. That could go back and forth. I honestly told the kids the other day, guys, I don't care what projections are. I don't care where they got us in the bracket. People keep asking me. I really don't care. What I care about is, are you ready for this next lift? Are you ready for this next film session? Are you ready for this next practice? Just literally take it step by step and make sure that we're doing all the little things right. And it will take care of itself. We'll know that. And then we can prep for that team, and that's what we need to be able to do, and staying focused. And since we've done that and kind of really put that in the emphasis, the kids have been really locked in, focused, and we've just been having great practices. It's been a lot of fun, and we're going into games and hopefully keep balling up what you saw on Saturday, where we can come out playing fast and get on it real quick. So.
Coach, before I let you go, last one, and it's probably a loaded question, so we don't need to get too in detailed with it. But last week during the season, everybody's focused on football, and then a proposal comes out about changing things. And I know the IHSA is wanting to relook at things and on all those kind of things. Your thoughts? Did you read it? Did you know about it? Do you have time this time of year, considering you're focused on playing now. Your thoughts on maybe a new system or the thought of a new system in the IHSA?
To be honest with you, I'm on the computer and I got a couple tabs here, and it goes they're the tabs for that whole thing I've been looking at the last 2 weeks. I think it's really interesting. Credit to Roxana High School and their administration for putting that together, and it's really thorough. It's just, I don't know, everyone's got a different take on it. I always look at, hey, do we really need to add more time to the summer when kids should have time off after going all summer long, adding that extra week and starting a little earlier? That's, one of those things. Do we need to expand the playoffs? I don't know. I don't know if that, in hindsight waters it down or whatnot. I think the big thing that's a concern is you don't want people jumping conferences because it just changes stuff so quickly. And then you might be out of playing a game, or somebody going from 11-man to 8-man, and how's that change things? And I think one of the things that this proposal adds is some consistency with their regions, and it being in a 6-man region, I think wouldn't be terrible. I just don't know about all the other parts of it. I've definitely looked at it, and I think they did a good job. And they even got the map that you can look at and who would be potentially in your region. I just say I'm glad I'm not like UT and Moline, where it's like you play each other, then you're going to be traveling across the state. But it's just one of those things. Just looking at it, I think they did a really good job, and it's thorough. And I think that's what you need to have so people can see the transparency of whatever you call a proposal like that. Yeah. So, and at the end of the day, I enjoy playing in the track. I like our conference. I think it gets you ready for the postseason. It's a tough conference, and as long as our conference stays around, I wouldn't see why you'd change it. So that's my 2 cents. So
no, there's some pluses, some minuses, and I think it's a fascinating conversation. But you mentioned, I feel like they put the work into it, and you respect that. You respect the information. You don't have to agree with it, but you respect the fact that it's so thorough and detailed. So I know it's a debate that will continue over the next couple of weeks. I know what will continue is Sterling Newman football over the next couple of weeks. Week 9 against Monmouth Roseville, and then the playoffs after that. Hopefully more than just a couple weeks, Coach. Hopefully we can be talking towards the end of Newman, or at the end of November. So I always appreciate your time. Figuring out the technology for me was big as well. So you get an extra assist for that, and we'll catch up again real soon, Coach.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Good luck to those Lions tonight. Just as a Broncos fan, I thought yesterday might have been one of the most unbelievable things I've ever seen. But then again, we had our game Saturday, which was just the weirdest thing too. So full of crazy stuff this weekend. But good luck to the Lions. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate all you do, man.
We'll take it. Thanks, Coach. Yeah. Appreciate you. That is Mike LeMay, head coach out at Sterling Newman. They put up 79 points on Friday, and Saturday, excuse me. I remember seeing that on Saturday I was in the press box at Kinnick. I'm like, I got to call Coach. Like that's a good conversation to have, and really thorough insight on what coaches are going through right now when it comes to new proposals and that kind of stuff. Because they're focused on the here and the now, but everyone talking about what high school football could look like, might look like, if it's going to change in the state of Illinois as well. So thank you again to Coach LeMay for joining us. We got more to get to, a lot to talk about from the weekend. My good friend John Marx will join me with a little Marxy Monday as we do a little sports radio and kind of talk the hot topics of the weekend. All that and much more on a Monday right here on OTA. We'll be right back.
Hello, Dan Pearson here of FCA. Our team is thrilled to support Off the Air with our good friend Matt Randazzo. We share the view of the power of sport when it comes to relationships, including the influence of the coach. FCA believes the coach is the most influential person in America. Matt celebrates local coaches and athletes. His content is informational, insightful, and inspirational. Our Fellowship of Christian Athlete team loves partnering with Off the Air with Matt Randazzo while we engage, equip, and empower coaches and athletes in our 23 counties. FCA, the heart and soul in sports.
View from the West, the podcast covering Illinois high school football.
It's going to be a hard-hitting game. It's going to be great football.
Weekly analysis and reaction from around the western side of the state of Illinois.
This is the game we had circled when the year started.
Follow along on YouTube and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.
It's big-time football out there tonight. and I know we can play big-time football.
You from the West. We got you covered.
Are you looking for the Quad City's best chips and salsa? There's only one dude to turn to.
Right on.
Snoop. Hand-cut chips, fried fresh with that crunch you've come to love. And the most addicting salsa with delicious fresh ingredients each and every time. Pick up your chips and salsa, queso, enchiladas, and much more at the Stern Center in Rock Island. To place your order, simply call the man himself. It's Snoop at 309-314-8197 and find out for yourself what the rest of the Quad Cities already loves. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Monday in the Quad Cities. It is Monday, and there's always a lot to talk about every Monday when it comes to the world of sports. So we started a few weeks ago, almost a month ago, and people haven't run us off the air with it yet. So without further ado, it's Marxy Monday. John Marx joins me to make sense of everything that goes on in the world of sports. I don't know if we help it or if we hurt it. We may do a little bit of both. But Johnny, I feel bad. Like, you always look nice. You're in your office and everything. And I'm wearing the Lions hoodie because of tonight. They play tonight. I got a hat on. I'm slumming it on a Monday. Last week kicked my butt. Like, I'm a little tired. So I figured I'm going to slum it a little bit today.
And you don't need me to pat you on the back. That's a good thing for you. You have full sponsorship. You have made phenomenal strides, big boy. You deserve to be busy but you have to remember to continue to do and expand how far you've gone in 9 months, Matty. You need to continue to stay busy. So quit being a whiny ass, quit being a baby. Suck it up. Is that a Notre Dame hat you have on?
No, it's not. That's funny because people wonder that. It's a golf hat. No, it's a golf hat. It's like Lucky Golf. It's like a golf hat. It's not like a brand. Honestly,
I thought you bought in.
No, it was before my dad's golf outing, and I was out at Dick's with a buddy, and I just needed a new hat for the golf outing, and I liked the way it looked, so I put it on. Who was on the show one day? Or they texted me. I was wearing it one day, and they're like, "Go Irish!" Oregon? I love I can't remember who it was, but I'm like, no, it's not an Irish thing. It might have been who was just on the show. It might have been Coach Hite. Over at Davenport North that said it. So no, it's not no Notre Dame yet. If I'm wearing a college hat, I think contractually I gotta put the black and gold on. But with that being said, it was a fun week last week, and I'm not like harping on it, but go ahead, and if you guys missed the men's or women's basketball shows from the University of Iowa, Tuesday was the ladies, which was it's rivaling being the most watched show that we've done, which is really cool. And then the men's one as well. Go check them out Tuesday and Wednesday of last week. I guess since we're talking University of Iowa, we'll start on the college level. Iowa wins. They're 5-2, and there's two sides you look at it, Johnny. You look at it and you can say like half class full is like, man, they're a stupid bounce or two against Iowa State, and maybe a quarterback getting injured against Indiana and beating a number 2 ranked team in the nation, of being 7-0 and highly ranked. And then you can also look at it as it hasn't looked great at times. I think somebody pointed out the combined record of their wins is like 9-23 when it comes to the teams they've played. Where do we make sense of Iowa? How good are they after 7 weeks of the season?
And who's the person that said the combined? Tell that person to shut up.
It might have been Tom Caker tweeting it. I can't remember.
Okay, well, here, I'll text him when we're done. I don't care. It's college football, dude. It does not matter. Did anybody watch Louisville and Miami?
Yeah.
Come on. It doesn't matter. These kids, it's next level stuff. Again, I watched it, been there, watched it, seen it, lived it firsthand with Junior. It's exceptional. If you can beat somebody, that 9-20, throw that crap out the window, because truly anybody can win on Saturday. That said, I don't think Coach Ferentz wants anybody to pay attention to them right now until it's week 9 or 10 and it's bowl time and where they standing wise and in their division. So National love. Who cares? They're doing great. Play great football Saturday. And nobody's a bigger fan, and you know why, of Coach Ferentz and LeVar Woods than I. They have some special teams ops to clean up, and one of the things that they've always excelled in. And as soon as they clean up that snap time, etc., blocking, stepping down, not getting things blocked, they'll be perfect. They beat an inspired football team Saturday. You know how it works when you fire the head coach. And dude, come on, matter. And it's just like you talking about coaches getting fired. Billy Napier got fired from Florida. What a great job, what a great program. But James Franklin went 3 straight weeks without a win, and Billy Napier got away with it for 2 years. Gone. So in college football, to answer your first question, I would just lay low and continue to play good football, really sound defense. As we know, they're always going to be there. They're getting better on the offensive side of the football, running the ball with authority. Just lay low. You don't need national attention. And then if you want, fine. But talk about this in week 9 or week 10, more than that. Not week 8 at 8.5. So good for them.
Funny. It's funny, Johnny, because you look at it and they're a couple victories away, and they have some really tough games after the bye. So they go Minnesota first things first, and that's a big game on Saturday. They get a bye week. If they can beat Oregon, if they can go to USC and win, they're going to start ticking off the rest of college football again, like they've done in years past, where nobody wants them to be around, but they have to be around, and nobody likes the way they play, but their way of play results in victories. It's there for them. And I know you can't, as an Iowa fan, do the ifs and buts thing, because I do think they could have beaten Iowa State and maybe should have, and then Indiana was right there for the taking. They didn't play well enough in those 2 games to win. Like, you can look at bounces and stuff and an unfortunate injury to Mark Gronowski, but Iowa didn't play. You look at that Indiana game, they had the interception that resulted in 7 points to start the game. They did the same thing against Penn State this past week. And then Iowa gave up the late field goal in the first half with like 25 seconds left. They got down the field. And then Iowa does the field goal nonsense this week, which we talked to Pat Anger about earlier in the show. I think they could be 7-0, but they're 5-2. They're playing really well. They're playing really good football. And I think that's one thing that can excite fans as well. Illinois and Iowa State both had bye weeks. Illinois back in the top 25 at number 23. I know that we can't do this. I wish we could. But if we scheduled a game at Brady Street Stadium between Iowa and Illinois, neutral site right now, who would win that game?
Today, after last Saturday, Iowa. But only because they're a better defensive football team than Illinois is offensively right now. But in 4 weeks, Matt, I wouldn't want to play Illinois. I still think they have one of the better quarterbacks, I think, in the country. They have enough weapons offensively. The kid from Rochester, and his name escapes me every time, because every time I think of Rochester, I get sick to my stomach. So having gotten my butt kicked out, they are going to be better offensively. They need to get better on the defensive side of the football, and they can. Right now, defense can win you football games. It might get tougher in week 9, 10, but right now, if you put them at Brady Street, probably Iowa, and it would be ugly, and it would be a 17-16. The typical Coach Ferentz victory, 17-16, and you punted the last 3 possessions to pin them inside the 10. I mean, that's a perfect football game for him.
It's gonna be it'd be a really fun game. I'll ask Ken Prince. I'll ask Ken Prince this week when we have him on as well, because I'm sure when and we can argue and talk about it. I would agree with you. People would say I'm biased.
In 3 weeks, so. I don't know. I really don't.
You mentioned something defensively that I think is right, is that Iowa's playing really well on the defensive side of football, which is a surprise to no one. You flip it, and I'm intrigued if the best quarterback on the field wins that game. But Mark Gronowski figures out a way to win football game. They're both winners. It'd be a fantastic game. We'll put it up on social media. I'll make a poll and put it up. Who would win a game on a neutral field right now between Iowa and Illinois?
It'd be fun to watch.
Yeah, I think it'd be really good.
And you just said that, and this is the last thing I'll say about Iowa, because I'm partial to. I mean, but the quarterback, and I know they paid well. He's pretty good with W's, and it's a pretty good level he played at, and that's a great training ground to come play in the major leagues. And they won a lot of football games, those Jackrabbits, and they filled their stadium, and he knows how to play. So don't doubt him, especially with more games that he plays in this system. He's only going to get better.
Yeah, I would agree. John Marx joining me right now and off there with Matt Randazzo. Another coaching firing. And Johnny, there's a lot of them. And to me, it feels like there's more of them during the season right now than ever before. Now, that simply is because of big business, is it not? Where
Absolutely.
It's changed to become the way of the NFL where and somebody said it to me really interesting. I can't remember who it was, but they said, I wonder how much more motivated Penn State's players are going to be now because they're playing for their next contract or they're playing for their next NIL opportunity, whether it's at Penn State or if it's wherever they decide to go to. Is it as simple as saying there's
$88 million over 11 years or 90 million Coach Signetti? You are as good as your last football game at that level, and you are even scarier as good as your last 3 games, James Franklin. So big business, paid very handsomely. You have to and you're given a budget to bring in the best players. And the other point of that is, and you made a great point, Matt, players are playing for their jobs. It's going to be a new system, and a lot of guys will go because wherever their coordinator goes, he's going to call them. I know, I lived it. So wherever the coordinator goes, he's going to pick up the phone and say, hey, I want you to come play for me, and this is how much money you can have that we have allocated for guys in your position group. And there's going to be roster turnover at Penn State. There's going to be roster turnover at Virginia Tech. There's going to be roster turnover at Florida now that Billy Napier's gone. But got to remember, they're all paid handsomely. James Franklin doesn't have to do anything the rest of his life and get $50 million. He won't, because he'll go coach again or sit on the. You notice how fast he was sitting on the ESPN site. Come on, and give Coach Saban credit for saying all the right things. How ridiculous that was. But if Coach Saban were still at Alabama and lost 3 straight, Miss Terry might not be able to save him. So it's big business. It's not going to change, Matt. There'll be some rules change, but when you're talking billions of dollars, it's the NFL junior.
No, I completely agree. Johnny, I want to go to the NFL that you mentioned. The NFL, the Bears are 4-2. I have thoughts, and everyone knows I dislike the Bears, so they're expecting me to be mean, and I'm not going to be. But your thoughts on the Chicago Bears being 4-2? Are they the best? Are they one of the top 2 teams in the NFC North?
The Vikings scare me because Carson Wentz is so up and down. The Packers showed they're going to have to get better and not be able to put people away late, which is a great trait to have. But the Arizona Cardinals played them closer than they should have, and that's a team that hasn't learned how to win. So are they? No. Here's the one thing you and I harped on a month ago is run the football. And that's happened the last 2 weeks. They 126 yards. DeAndre Swift is starting to become that force, Matt. So I think that's a good thing. Are they the second best team in that league, or are they one of the 2 best right now? Maybe. I think it's the Lions and everybody else. And the Packers need to separate themselves from the group. But 4-0 or 4 straight wins, and you start thinking about you're pretty good. And at that level, when you start thinking and knowing that you're pretty good, and the Giants are a prime example of a team that doesn't know how to be good. They're the second best, or 1A, B with the Packers in that conference.
No, I would completely agree. Okay, so first off, they've won 4 straight games. There's no reason to and don't like. I know Bears fans get mad, and I've done it. I've said, like, hey, they're not beating very good teams. It does not matter. It does not matter in this league. You win and you win and you win. I had some Bears fans reach out to me and say, I can't stop watching the Ben Johnson locker room videos. And I said, I've been watching them for 4 years in Detroit. That's not a bad thing. That's not saying he's Dan Campbell. He's learned from a guy who's done it at a high level. You mentioned running the football. I told people from the jump, if the Bears are going to be successful this year, everyone thought, he's going to come over and change Caleb Williams and they're going to score 40 points a game throwing the ball all over the place. They don't do that. They didn't do that in Detroit. They run the football. And you mentioned it and harped on it. And I'm not a huge DeAndre Swift guy still, because he's done this to me. And being in a Lions uniform where he's looked this way for 2 or 3 games and he looks fantastic, and then he'll kind of disappear a little bit, but give him all the credit in the world. He looks fantastic. I think the Bears have a coach. Here's the one thing that I figured out that we should probably think this is pretty good, is the Bears got the head coach correct. And in the NFL, you got to get the head coach correct, you got to get the quarterback correct, and then you go on from there. But those are the top 2. I think you're pretty close to saying that you got that guy correct. He's changed the culture. He's winning games that are close, which the Bears have never done. And he did a fantastic job, because when he came in, just like Dan Campbell did in Detroit, he put good people and coaching around him. And Dennis Allen was a home run hire. That defense still is not the most talented defense in football. I don't know if they're one of the top 10 talented defense in football, but they're taking the football away at a ridiculous level right now, Johnny. They're taking the football away 4 times a game. And if you can take the ball away 4 times a game, you are going to win a lot of football games in the NFL. Are they taking the ball away from bad NFL quarterbacks? Probably, but it doesn't matter. That's who they're playing in that week. So all that good stuff, and yes, like they've closed the gap between the Lions and Packers and where the Bears are. Absolutely, they have. I'll also say this, and this will make everybody mad. The success has very little to do with Caleb Williams. Absolutely. And I'll say the one thing that he's not doing is hurting his football team. And I know that that's a work in progress, and there's no final report on that yet. But I think if you would have said to me 6 games into the season, the Bears are having success, but Caleb Williams isn't playing very well, most people would be I'm surprised. Don't be surprised. It's the coach. It's the running game. It's the defense that you're winning football games on. And he just wants Caleb to be more efficient. He wasn't efficient yesterday. He wasn't explosive. He turned the ball over, which he doesn't do a lot of. So I think the jury's more out on the quarterback still. They got the head coach right. They've won 4 straight games. Don't apologize for it. Don't anything else. Get excited about it. And here, I'll let you be excited for a little bit, Bears fans. And you can be. But once you guys become ass clowns, I'll make sure that you need to temper the brakes when it comes to excitement. But be excited all you want today. Go ahead, Johnny.
They also have now easy, Mister. No Super Bowls in my history, so they at least have one. The other part of it is, have you checked the New England Patriots and who their head coach is? That's all you need to say when you get something right in this league. You get the head coach, and then you start doing other things correctly. They have the right person running, and it's the same situation, I believe, with the Bears. They have the right person. There's still tons of work left to be done, but never disparage anytime you win 4 straight football games, anytime you win 1 football game in the NFL, and it's the same with college. Never, ever, ever take winning for granted or take a deep breath and look around after you win.
Yeah,
can't.
No, most definitely.
Someone's gaining.
Bears have 2 road games against the Ravens. We'll know and see if they're not very good, but if Lamar Jackson comes back, they're very good. And then they go to Cincinnati, which was a winnable game and is still a winnable game. But Joe Flacco, for some reason, the Browns decided to trade a competent quarterback to a division rival that needed a competent quarterback. It makes no sense to me whatsoever. But those are the next 2 for the Bears. And then see if they're 5-3 or 6-2. Man alive, if they could get back to 4-4 if they lose both of those. But you look at their schedule, Johnny. I went through it this morning, and there's that's probably a victory, and there's a win here. The Giants is winnable. There's ways to look at it, and they got Green Bay twice. And if you told me right now that they split with Green Bay, I would completely buy it. I would completely say that makes sense. If they're going to sweep them, that's probably a little much, but they're all right there. And I'm all saying all this as a Lions fan who doesn't have a secondary right now, and they're going to play Baker Mayfield tonight. So I could come on here tomorrow with a sheepish scowl on my face and not be too happy. So the NFL is it changes weekly. So, but right now, Bears fans enjoy the heck out of it, 4-2 in the season, and that's a very good thing. So we've talked college, we've talked NFL. I want to talk to you about some high school football. You were at the game at the Soul Bowl, Moline versus UT. Before we talk about the game itself, later this week, I'm going to catch up with our good friends Scott Harding and Todd Thompson. I thought, so they made a bet on the game on the show on Friday. It was the losing athletic director has to work concessions wearing the enemy's team's apparel at their place for the high school basketball game when they play later this winter. It was, Todd Thompson winning that one, so Scott Harding will do that. First and foremost, I think it's really cool when athletic directors get into it like that. And that was a friendly, fun, great thing, but it shines more attention to high school athletics, and there's nothing but great things that can be done when that happens. Am I right?
Absolutely. But the thing of it is for Coach Harding, a Moline High School grad. Shannon is the head of their IT, his wife, and Brock and Brody have tons of Moline stuff laying around.
Yeah.
And Scott has tons of Moline stuff laying around. It's not a big stretch, but I like the fact that he's going to put the gear on and go serve concessions, which he's done before. Yeah. And it would have been cool with Todd Thompson. The joke was, of course, everybody knows Todd Thompson is not the tallest guy in the world. One of the toughest guys, though, because he's a wrestler. That Coach Harding was going to get a step stool for Todd so he could be able to see over the counter. Great joke. And they have a little traveling trophy for the game. It's a beautiful thing. And you have two guys with personality. That's the good thing about it. Running, and Scott does. Scott has just he did a phenomenal job last Friday, but he's done a phenomenal job as the athletic director, engaged, personality. Todd's done even better at Moline. So hats off to them. But you're right, Maddie. It brings something to it. It was social media, the old staunchness of stay in the background and not. It's out the window. Yeah. And again, I will point out, and you know this because and people will give us a hard time. The baseball coach at Alderman is one of those phenomenal right promoting of his kids of anybody I've ever met in the positive manner in social media. And the good things that go on at the baseball program at Alderman with Thomas Smith. So, and Jake Scudder does a nice job at Rock Island too. But it's not just coaching and standing in the background anymore. You have to keep updates on your Facebook, your Twitter, or X, whatever. And they're always doing it in a positive manner to promote something. I don't think that's wrong if Mark Vanata and Coach Emmendorfer wanted to get in a little agreement on maybe not basketball, but a baseball game, or Quincy and Rock Island, or oh my God, Rock Island, Sean Taylor and Coach Polite, or whatever. That hurts nothing.
Yeah,
it's a great idea, and I tip my hat to Todd and Scott for doing it.
The athletic directors at Rock Ridge and Newman did it earlier this year, and they just did
Great
it on
idea.
social media. And Greg, of course, at View from the West, or Mitch, one of the two, kind of caught it. And so they came on the View from the West Instant React show, and it was a bunch of fun as well. And I will say this, it really, I liked the idea, but then when I started thinking about it, and you nailed it, what is Scott Harding going to have to go pull out his Moline State Basketball Championship sweatshirt and wear it on a Friday night? That's not really punishment. That's not, he got the better end of the deal. In typical Scott Harding, he figured out a way to get the best end of the deal if his team was going to lose. So sure. The game itself, Moline playing fantastic football, injury for United Township. We hope their quarterback is okay. Moline, like we said, playing at a high level. They win the Western Big Six once again. You called the game at MC 22, and there was a lot of chatter about the game 35-0. I don't think the referees affected the outcome of the game, but I know that there was frustrations with officiating in that game. You were there. What did you see?
Here's what I will tell you. And sometimes that's between the any officiating issue is between the two head coaches and the six guys handling the crew. I thought there were some late whistles that led to a couple penalties that hurt Moline in the end, and I don't think it was an ejectable offense for the player. Again, it wasn't malicious, but that's me. But here's what that's you. I watched it. I've seen the game 3 times now. That's for the coaches, that's for the athletic directors, and that's for the officials and the head of officials, which is Mike Botts locally, who does a great job. That's for them to talk about. That's for them to fix whatever issues of if the official wasn't in a position, if the head coach didn't like something, that's for him to talk to his athletic director, and the athletic director to go to the officiating crew and the head of officials. The other part of it is I always got Jason Foy and his group always ask for a tape so they can watch. So maybe that crew. I don't think the officiating crew lost a football game. I don't think they were quick enough with whistles that led to some issues. But this is not for them to be called out publicly. Again, and I know we harp on it, and I know they're being paid, but this is not for them to get it shoved elsewhere. You just let the right channels handle this, Matt. This is not, it should never be settled in the court of public opinion, because with social media, public opinion is stupid and crazy. And you just allow them, that's not your job, not anybody's job. That's between, again, I harp on it and I said it again, that's between the officials, the 2 head coaches, that's it, and the athletic directors and whoever the head of officiating for this area is. If there were issues, they sit down, they figure them out. Quit taking shots at, there's not enough of them to start with. We know that. But that can't be the excuse anymore. But you have to be good at what you do. If somebody doesn't think you're doing your job, which should be in a Western Big Six football game, you should be the elite of elite, then sit down with your crew, figure some things out, sit down with the head coaches and figure it out. But this is not to be settled outside of that window.
Yeah, no, and you took a lot of what I was going to say, which is well said. But I bang this drum a lot, and I'm going to do it again because it's a hard thing to do. And yes, high school sports are bigger and more important than ever. I get it. It's just the same way we just got talking about college sports and how coaches are losing their jobs because of money and because of the way college football has changed. Well, high school sports have changed too. So I get that these coaches, this is their livelihood. They put a lot into it. These athletes put a lot into it. I am not arguing about that. I want every game to be officiated the best. I don't want it to be poor officiating. And I think that, training and all that kind of stuff, like you just said, the ways to do it should be done the correct way. But when parents and adults go to social media and start bashing officials, nothing good comes of it. You're not changing anything. Do you think somebody's going to go, oh, this guy thinks that like we messed things up, we should change something? It doesn't do anything, especially in a game that this one doesn't sound like it affected the outcome of the game. Like, you know what I mean? And I think both high school coaches, and I haven't talked to either, I don't think, about the game, I don't think either would love the way that it was officiated. And I'll go a step further. Like, I've heard from fans on both sides that have said it wasn't a well officiating. Sometimes, like you come away and you say like, man, we didn't get some calls, but you guys didn't get some calls either. So I think it was one of those things where it probably evened out. But take this game away and aside, it doesn't do anything. And yes, there's a shortage. And so to like scoff at there's a shortage and all those kind of things, it's flat out stupidity. It is what it is. These guys are extremely integral to Friday nights or Thursday nights or Tuesday nights in volleyball or basketball or on the diamonds. You can't play the game without them. And they don't get paid enough to get ripped on social media from guys that don't know nearly as much as what they do. And so that's what really frustrates me, because high school sports are a beautiful thing. And guess what, Johnny? And you know it because you don't like umpires. You don't like officials. This is nothing new. Did you experience bad calls in your playing days? I'm sure you did.
Yeah. And then when you coach and they see me walking the bill, I mean, there's 3 balls to start with on our pitcher. Yeah. And when I walk in, again, that's overrated too. But That's my shtick, is I don't get along with umpires.
Yeah.
So, but the thing of it is, you have to allow these men to do their jobs. And it's really bad because at the high school level, and I'll use baseball as an example, it's really bad because mommy and daddy believe they have the right because they complain on Saturday at a travel baseball game because they paid $10 to get in. That's not, no, you don't do that. Shut your mouth.
Where are you going to get in for $10? Let me know how to do that.
15.
That's cheap.
Okay. Okay. Says a father of four right now.
Yep.
It's just nuts. You don't see what they see. You're not in the trenches. You don't have a mask on, umpiring behind home plate. So yes, everybody makes mistakes. We're humans. But the officials didn't lose the football game. I don't think they had as much control over it as they wanted, or things got sideways. But just shut up and let them go.
Instead of complaining about the problem, be part of the solution. Figure out a way to be part of the solution. Figure out a way to recruit more young people to be officials so that they have maybe a better chance to get to a play at the right time and everything like that. I got it. We both have a mutual good friend, Don Umland, who's turning 60 soon. And he's going to be doing college basketball or high school basketball running up and down the floor. And everyone always says to me, like, why do the umpires or the referees look so old? Because we don't have young ones. So instead of complaining about the problem, be part of the solution. Find a young person, encourage them to do that. Maybe you're that young person yourself that instead of complaining about it on social media can be part of the solution as well. I don't know. It's my thing. I get cranky about it all the time. And I know there's bad calls, and I'm the first person to complain about a bad call. And I'll probably be on here tomorrow morning complaining about the Lions getting screwed or something like that. So I get all of that as well. But it's high school sports. It's young people. There's things that are going to happen. Just enjoy the game itself and celebrate it, and celebrate these guys too, because they're a diminishing breed, and we need officials and umpires more than ever. So Johnny, I appreciate you. This is fun as always. Where are you at next week when it comes to MC22?
A dandy Friday night at after I get to sit down with Duke Friday morning, and my good friend Pete and you this week to talk about all your experiences. And then MC22 is at Jack and Pat Bush Stadium Friday night, Mount Vernon and Assumption for all maybe probably second place in that district behind Wallert, and with an opportunity with the winner going to the playoffs.
Yeah,
so
those are some big games.
Be a dandy.
We had Adam Hite coming up here in just a second as well. Adam Hite and Davenport North looking to get into the postseason, and North Scott is as well. So there's some really good games on the Iowa side of the river. You'll have Mount Vernon and Assumption on MC22, and it's a good segue because of who we got coming up next. So we'll talk about that in a second. Johnny, I will let you go. I appreciate you as always.
Love you, brother. Appreciate it.
Give me the keys.
Learning to drive can be stressful for both the student and, yes, the parent as well. Relax. There's an easy way to avoid the stress. Skiles Driving School in East Moline has been helping new drivers hit the road with confidence for over 20 years. Whether you're a teen earning your first license or an adult looking for behind-the-wheel training, we've got you covered. Their certified instructors are patient, experienced, and use modern vehicles equipped for safety and comfort. From classroom instruction to real-world driving, we make learning safe, affordable, and even fun. Call 309-278-0098 or visit skylesdriving.com. Skiles Driving School. Get in, buckle up, drive your future forward.
Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Monday in the Quad Cities, Monday, October 20th. Thank you guys so much for joining us. It's been a busy, full show. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you for hopping over from one part to the other. A little internet bump in the middle of the show. So 2 separate segments or 2 separate shows, part 1 and part 2, if you're on YouTube and you're checking things out later on today. We want to thank our guest, Pat Anger, as always on a Monday, talking Iowa football. The Hawkeyes 5-2, a victory over Penn State in dramatic fashion. So they get ready for the Gophers this week. We'll talk more about the Gophers in Iowa later this week. Also want to thank Adam Hite from Davenport North. He recently became Davenport North's all-time winningest head coach in program history. They are 6-2. Big game at North Scott coming up on Friday. Winner of that game will get in the postseason. Loser has to wait around and try to figure it out and see if they got in the postseason or not. We also want to thank Mike LeMay for dropping by and chatting, the Sterling Newman head coach. Newman put up 79 points on Saturday, and now they have a trip to Monmouth Roseville before the postseason begins. So always great to catch up with Coach LeMay. Also talking about the proposals that are out there when it comes to Illinois, high school football, and what it might look like in the future and all those kind of things. So, and then last but not least, always love John Marx on a Monday talking about the Bears, college football, people complaining about referees. And I did have somebody on the chat, which makes sense. I did open up last segment on Monday complaining about the referees in the Sunday night football game. I do also know DJ's a Chiefs fan and he knows I'm right. But with that being said, I'm not talking about professional sports. It's just a different thing. It's a different ball. Like it's equivalent of, for me, if a player messes up in the NFL, I can criticize them because they're making millions upon millions of dollars to do it. If a high school player, even a college player, although that's changed now because they make money, but you can be less critical because they're not being paid what they're doing in the NFL to referee. So it's just apples and oranges with that. I agree with it. There's bad calls and you can complain about them. And like Johnny said, there's a great way to do it when it comes to coaches contacting officials, all those kind of things. Going on social media and blasting officials doesn't get you anywhere. It just doesn't. And high school football wise and high school sports wise, other sports, have at it. I might complain tomorrow, depending on how these guys do. Who knows? So anyways, it's been a fun show. Thank you guys for joining us on a Monday. We'll have more to get to, a ton to get to this week. A fun time of year. Trying to figure out what I'm going to do on Friday. I might take the show on the road. We might stay in the studio. Got to figure a few things out along the way. So anyways, thank you guys so much for joining us on Off the Air. We will see you back again. Enjoy your Monday, and we'll talk to you soon.